How to be more aggressive in basketball. I'm Tony. Welcome back to StreetBall Strategies.
Do what you gotta do. Don't say it's impossible. Nothing is stopping you. Go be phenomenal.
Today we're talking about how to play basketball in general more aggressively. But let me give a quick disclaimer for the new viewers to this channel. If you're new to this video, if you're new to this channel, right, there's stuff that you need to know. If you already know the deal with this channel, you're a subscriber, then go ahead and skip to the next chapter. So here's the deal for those of you that are new. This is not your typical YouTube basketball channel. Most big, successful basketball channels on YouTube deal mostly with workouts and drills. I don't do that, and I have a video right here about why I don't do drills and workouts. This channel is pretty much TED Talks for basketball advice. Not a whole lot of action that you're gonna see from me. I like to think of it as the other channels, they train your limbs, your arms and your legs to be basketball machines. I train your brain, your mind, how to be a basketball machine. So you tell me what you think is more complex, more complicated to do. Train your arms and your legs how to play basketball, or how to train your mind and your brain how to think and compute and process basketball information. And so the videos that I make are long videos because they have to be thorough. If you're looking for short, concise videos that give you like shortcut answers and hacks to whatever basketball topics you're looking at, this is just not the channel for you. Also with those other basketball channels, they probably, when they cover their topics, right, they probably give you drills and workouts, and those drills and workouts are going to work kind of, sort of, sometimes, right? And they'll kind of sort of help your problem sometimes if that drill or workout just happens to apply to you and you actually like it, so you actually do it, right? But when you come to my channel and you click on my videos and you're interested to hear what I have to say about a question or a topic, a subject, right? And we're trying to solve something, figure something out. My channel, my videos are designed intentionally to solve problems and issues once and for all, forever. If you don't like that, if that's not what you're looking for, it's all good. It's just wrong channel for you. Disclaimer over. So now when we're talking about this issue of aggressiveness, trying to be more aggressive and using aggression in your basketball game, let me tell you this, right? I have been doing this for over 30 years, right? I love the psychological aspect of basketball. I also love, just in general, right, trying to understand why humans do the things they do and behave the way they behave. It's a lifelong interest and passion of mine. And I apply that to basketball as much as I can because it gives me more information than the average basketball player out here, giving me more tools and weapons that I can use. I take it very seriously. I've been doing it for a long time. So when I say to you that on the topic of trying to be more aggressive, what we're really talking about, right? Let's put it this way. If you were here with me right now and I were to ask you why do you want to be more aggressive, right? You would give me whatever answer, and then I would say, yes, okay, but why? Why do you feel that way? Why do you want that? And we would keep going back and forth until we finally got to the root of the problem, which is what I always try to do on this channel. Believe me when I say that the root of trying to be more aggressive is control. You feel as though if you have more control on the basketball court, right, you will be more comfortable. The more comfortable you are, the better basketball you're going to be able to play. So to deal with this control issue, I'm going to come at it from two different angles. The first is going to be a psychological mindset kind of angle. The second is going to be more of a basketball, practical basketball, on the court kind of angle. So let's get into how and why you can be more aggressive. The psychological condition of wanting more control and trying to use aggressiveness to get it is something that's experienced by many players. Not all, not most, but many. And it's completely normal. It makes complete sense. This comes from the idea that whenever some kind of chaos, especially unforeseen chaos, happens on the court, say from some kind of mistake or turnover or something like that, right? The more chaos that happens, the less control those players feel like they have on the basketball court. The less control they feel they have, the more uncomfortable they get. The more uncomfortable they are, the worse they know they're going to play. So ergo, their solution is, well, if I'm just more aggressive, I'll have more control and I will play better. And that is one of those kind of shortcut, temporary band-aid kind of answers. Because the real answer to this question is not that you need more control to be more aggressive. The answer that's going to solve this problem once and for all forever is you need to get comfortable being uncomfortable. This is one of the many times where the best answer is the long path, right? Where it's like there is no shortcut, there's no hack. The only real answer is you gotta go through the process and you gotta put in the work. You gotta experience those uncomfortable situations in basketball, right? Feel how they, you're embarrassed, right? You're ashamed because you didn't react properly. Maybe you made all kinds of mistakes and made yourself look bad. You got to go through that process and realize that when you reflect back on that moment, on that game, that play, whatever it may be, it wasn't as bad as you thought it was, right? Even though it felt terrible in the moment, it turns out in reality it wasn't as bad as you thought it was. And next time you will know, you'll be more prepared, so you'll be able to react better, play better in those moments. Now, that's pretty common advice, right? When it is given, right? But most of the time, I've never seen the missing part mentioned when it comes to that kind of advice. The part that's either always missing or is never emphasized the way it should be is the part where you need to internalize. Internalization is always left out of this kind of advice. By internalization, what I mean is allowing yourself to feel those bad, negative, uncomfortable emotions as deeply and thoroughly and comprehensively as you possibly can. And you do that by accepting responsibility for the mistakes that you made out on the court, the things that you could have done better. The opposite of this would be externalization. So blaming everybody else around you. It wasn't your fault, it's everybody else's fault. They did whatever wrong, it wasn't your fault, it's their fault. That's externalizing. You don't want to do that. You want to internalize and feel all of that bad negative emotion as much as you possibly can. The reason you do this is not to beat yourself up, right? Not to make yourself feel bad or, start yourself down like a spiral of, negative emotions that lead to some kind of depression or anything like that. The reason you internalize those feelings is so that the better you feel them, like the better you understand them, right? The more you can genuinely resolve to genuinely get better, do better next time. There is no better motivation or inspiration than your own true emotions, right? That either say, okay, I felt this great positive emotion and I want to feel that again. I want to feel it as often as I possibly can, so I will put in whatever work it takes in order for that to happen. Or I felt this terrible negative emotion, right? I never want to feel this again, so I will do whatever work it takes in order to avoid that as well. You're never going to find any better inspiration or motivation than that ever. It just does not exist. So the more you internalize, the more you can genuinely, for real, resolve to get better. Because players will often say, oh yeah, it was my mistake, my bad. I know I did X, Y, and Z wrong, right? I'll get better. I'll do better next time. Like, they'll say that because it sounds good to say that, right? It makes them sound noble when they say it. The question is, do they actually mean it, right? And if they internalize those feelings, right, then yes, they actually meant it, which means they will actually get better. But if they're just saying it because it sounds good, then no, they didn't internalize it. No, they're not going to get better. So internalization, right, is going to allow you to go through that process properly, which is going to allow you to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's what you need to do. Like, what happens when that chaos happens is, it's not like you need more control and you can squash that chaos and make yourself a better player, right? When that chaos happens, you fall off as a basketball player. Perfectly normal. Happens to a lot of players, right? It makes sense. Chaos happens, you can't control it, you fall off as a basketball player, right? You don't need more control. What you need to do is get used to the uncomfortability that chaos creates, so that when chaos happens, you don't get uncomfortable, you stay exactly where you can stay locked in as a player and ride that chaos out and then deal with it until it gets better. And the more experience that you establish and have as a player, the more you'll be able to, actually, assert yourself properly to deal with that chaos properly, so that not necessarily that you control it, but you can deal with it in a way where it feels like you have control over, uncontrollable chaos. From a more practical and applicable basketball standpoint, if you're saying you want control on the basketball court, and let's say it doesn't come from any kind of insecurity, like in the previous example, let's say your train of thought is you want more control so that you can assert more of your will on the basketball court, right? The more you're able to do that, the more the game's going to go the way that you want it to go. Then the more comfortable you'll be, the better you'll be able to play. So for you, it's more about trying to assert more of your playing style, right? More of your strategy on the game, right? So that things out here go and turn out the way that you want and plan them to turn out. Again, with this answer, right, it's the same thing. There's no better way through than to go through it. So the way you establish that kind of assertion out here, where you can apply your will to the court and whatever players are out here, is through genuine earned confidence. Because confidence is going to allow you to be really smartly assertive, because that's what you really want, right? You don't really want to be too aggressive, because aggression kind of means bordering on reckless abandon. And reckless abandon would mean making way more mistakes, because if your one and only playing style is to be aggressive all the time, then that means you've made yourself one-dimensional. Yes, you're aggressive, but smart players on the other team are gonna learn how to use that aggressiveness against you, because you're one-dimensional, which means you're predictable. Predictable means they can use that against you. They know what you're gonna do. So instead, you want to be assertive, because assertive means you pick your spots, right? You play smart most of the time. You play, textbook most of the time. But when you see the proper opportunities, that's when you can get aggressive, right? Go for steals, whatever it may be, right? That breaks that kind of cycle of being kind of normal and average and textbook, right? Going above and beyond. And when you're aggressive in that way, smartly, right? So that you're not predictable, now you're being assertive, and now you have more control over the game than you would have if you were just aggressive all the time. So instead, you just got to go through the process of earning those skills, earning those abilities, earning the experience that you're going to need, that's going to teach you how and when to be assertive. Because there are the times when you are going to have to take the chance of being more aggressive. You're going to have to experiment. And when you experiment, you're just going to make all kinds of mistakes. And it's how you learn from those mistakes, which is going to determine how much progress you actually make as a player. But all of that experimenting is going to take time. So the best advice I could give you is, instead of trying to fake it till you make it, just coming out here and, the easy answer would be for me to tell you, when you're talking about aggressiveness, just play harder, just be tougher. Just in general, play harder and be tougher. Well, if you're a young player and you don't really have a whole lot of skills and abilities yet, to you that would mean okay, well, I'm just gonna kind of fake it till I make it. I'm gonna fake being aggressive on defense. Well, what that really means is you're going to make all kinds of mistakes. So instead, my best advice to you would be smart. Be as smart as you can be at whatever level of basketball you are. Play as smartly as you possibly can. Realize you're going to make mistakes. Realize there are going to be times and opportunities where you feel okay, this is a good time for me to take this chance, go for this steal, whatever it may be. And by being a little bit more aggressive than normal, and maybe you're successful, maybe you're not. Either way, it's very important that you learn from that experiment, right? If you are successful, okay, how and why? If you fail, okay, well then how and why? But if you don't succeed, right? If you try and you experiment and you embarrass yourself, right? It's important, like I said, to internalize that, right? Don't push it away. Don't try to, fake like it doesn't matter to you, right? Internalize it and use it as motivation to get better. But really the only way you kind of get that confidence on the court so that you can impose your will is by having really true, genuine confidence that you've earned by going through the training, practicing, drilling, workout process. That's how to be more aggressive in basketball. The bottom line answer, the answer that's gonna fix that kind of issue forever, once and for all, is you just kind of have to earn it. Whether we're talking about the ability to make yourself comfortable being uncomfortable, or just earning real confidence that allows you to impose your will out here properly, either way, you're gonna have to go through the process of earning both of those. I know it sounds like old man coach speak that I'm just sort of giving you because it makes me sound like I'm a good, wise old coach. That's not what I'm doing it. I would not be giving you advice just because it sounds a certain way. I'm giving it to you because it actually works in practice. The problem is that when you're talking about answers like this and going through long processes, right, you're not really gonna see, how effective it actually is until you're well within the process. So I'm basically just telling you to trust the process, and the process exists because it actually does work. You just got to give it a try and give it some time. So I want to thank you guys for watching. If you liked this video, if you found it helpful, right, let me know down in the comments. How do you deal with trying to be more aggressive? Like, what have you tried? What has worked for you? And how have you gone about trying to get the kind of control you're looking for out here on the court? And if you did find this video helpful, then please subscribe to the channel. But before you comment, make sure you hit that thanks button down below, because after hitting that thanks button, any comment that you make will be highlighted and stand out from any other comment. That thanks button also directly supports the channel, so for anyone that does hit that thanks button, know I genuinely appreciate it. As always, like, share, comment like I said. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified whenever any video goes live on this channel. And until then, I'll see you guys next week.
One of a kind, like a sunset, upset and up next. Make them run when they run this. No stress, just progress. People was calling me weird, now they calling me genius. Same vision from the very beginning. I told my shit didn't really